Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. I hope you are all doing well. I promised you a crazy Mercato, and I think that we can say that Mercato is crazy. Is there a single Juventino, part of the GJustjuve community, that is still doubting about the fact that Mercato is crazy? I don't think so, because if we are monitoring how Giuntoli and team are moving on the Mercato session, not even an officially open Mercato session, well, things are totally crazy. And I know that a lot of people are waiting for Calafiori to become a Juve player to really admit that Mercato is crazy. Well, this morning we have one of the things that are showing us that Calafiori to Juventus is a done deal, is 100% confirmed. What am I speaking about? Well, watch. I was waiting for one single thing, not the Juventus official announcement of Calafiori, not Romeo Agresti, not here we go for Fabrizio Romano, something that is even stronger than that. A YouTube video from Arsenal fans with "Welcome to Arsenal?" with Calafiori dressing the Arsenal shirt. Well, it happened this morning. I'm extremely happy. If people are saying, Beppe, what are you talking about? We have absolutely no idea. Well, go back to the past. Locatelli with the Arsenal shirt, YouTube video there. Welcome to Arsenal, ? The same thing happened to Dusan Vlahovic with an Arsenal shirt. And the same thing not that long time ago about Douglas Luiz with an Arsenal shirt. Welcome to Arsenal, ? Well, we all know the destiny of the last three players. That shows that Calafiori to Juve, well, the dream is still alive. Now, let's go to the serious things, because we have a lot of things to speak about in today's video, really interesting things. The first thing, I really wanted to say thank you, because I was not even aware of the strength, of the power of GJustjuve community. You know it, the GOAT of this transfer market about Juventus is Alfredo Pedulla, 100%. The guy is hitting target one after the other. He is on fire. Yesterday he even said, Juventus sta cucinando, Juventus is cooking. Well, I was blocked by Alfredo Pedulla on Twitter since years and years and years without any possibility to unblock myself. Well, yesterday during the live, people went under his profile starting to ask to Alfredo Pedulla, unblock GJustjuve. And yesterday it happened. The power of GJustjuve community is just crazy, crazy, crazy. You are not even aware what we can do all together. Now, speaking about Alfredo Pedulla, a lot of questions were raised about Beppe, but we are speaking about so many players. About Douglas Luiz, about Khephren Thuram, about Cope Manners, about Calafiori, about a really strong, expensive, offensive winger. Where is all that money coming from? Because we know it, we spoke about it, we are still in that project of sustainability. Break even the books 26, 27, we have so many financial problems and we are just adding up one player after the other. How is it possible? Well, a small recap was written yesterday by Alfredo Pedulla on Twitter, where he said, pay attention to Juve because they are starting to generate funds. The first one, that is nearly a done deal, is 20 million between Caio Jorge and Moise Kean. Caio Jorge, we know it, back to Brazil, Cruzeiro. Moise Kean, and we'll come back on him in a second, to Fiorentina. Both of them 20 million with a lot of bonuses. Then 25-30 million euro for Dean Huijsen. And all these players, will give you the details in a second. 40 million for Sule, at least. He's the most requested player at the moment from Juventus. Between 50 and 20 million euro, which would make Juventus happy for Weston McKennie. Chiesa, between 25 and 30 million euro. If we are summing up all that without even taking care of Kostic and Milik, that at the moment are a bit blocked because of their injury before or during Euro 2024, without thinking about Felix Correa, for example, 1.5, De Sciglio, etc., etc. Well, summing up all these players, you arrive already at 140 million euro in cash for Juventus. And I'm not even calculating the savings that you are doing in salary, the impact of these values on the books of Juve. It's a lot of money that Juventus is doing so. So let's go step by step to all the players and then going towards the dream of Juventus that you probably already saw on the thumbnail of today. Moise Kean, that's the first one. Yesterday, acceleration, big, huge acceleration. Moise Kean decided between Bologna, between Fenerbahce, between Saudi Arabia to go to Fiorentina. Fiorentina of the new coach Palladino that was already looking for our Italian player since his time at Monza. He wanted him on loan. It didn't happen at the end because he preferred to go to Atletico Madrid. Failed medicals. Well, this time they are that close to go to Fiorentina. And I was always thinking, if they go to Fiorentina are always problems with the money, they don't want to spend, will probably be a loan with an option to buy a Arthur deal, with a salary paid by Juventus, a part of them. No, Giuntoli and co, they are doing a masterclass also there. The initial request was a bit above 15 million euro. The initial offer from Fiorentina was 10 million euro, knowing that the value, the impact of Moise Kean at Juventus in this last year of contract would have been 9.6 million, 10 million were not enough. And that's why they are going towards 12, 13 millions. What are they still discussing about? About the fact that Juventus, they want potentially also some bonuses linked to Moise Kean. Maybe the goals, maybe the appearances. Hopefully the appearances more than the goals, because if we know how it finished last season with the goals, I think that Juventus will not see any bonus from their side. Anyway, Moise Kean is also ready to reduce slightly his salary to go to Fiorentina, and that's beautiful because we need that money. Money that partially, and it's not a lot, don't imagine 50 million, it's 12 million euro with a profit of 2-3 million euros, it's not a lot, but money that will partially be used for one big name. Khephren Thuram. Khephren Thuram, that later today you will see a fantastic video on today's video, so put the notification ring on, especially when we have 2 videos a day. Sometime you could miss it, so pay attention, refresh in the afternoon, because Khephren Thuram tactically will be fantastic video. Well, Khephren Thuram is close to Juventus. He wants to go to Juve. Juventus wants to go for him. The initial requests are actually a bit higher than we were thinking. It was not 20 million euro, but 30 million euro for Nice. Juventus' initial offer was 15-20, so there was a gap that they are trying to negotiate. At the moment, no Milik, no this, no that, even Nonje, not sure. They want to go with a single operation and then thinking about inserting some players in a separate deal. But Juventus, they understood that that's the target, paying attention also to the competition, and that's why they really want to go fast, while Nice, they understood that that's the team that they need to sell to, because Khephren Thuram wants to go there. So Khephren Thuram to Juve would be probably the second, if not the third name of Juventus 24-25. The third, why? Because Di Gregorio will be presented next week as an official Juventus player. What about Douglas Luiz? Well, Douglas Luiz is a player that will do today his medicals in Las Vegas. Also, Alisha Lehmann, probably they will do both the medical tests. And then later this week, still this week, be announced as a Juve player. What about the second player that was on that selling list? Well, we have Paris Saint-Germain on Dean Huijsen. Dean Huijsen, a lot of teams are on him. A Dortmund, pay attention to Adeyemi, but a Dortmund, you have a Leverkusen, you have Stuttgart, you have a Newcastle, you have a lot of teams. Now there is also the interest of Paris Saint-Germain. They were going for Euro. Euro will not be a Paris Saint-Germain player, or at least not that we know, because Real Madrid is on him. So they are now thinking about Dean Huijsen. Dean Huijsen, he has one thing. He wants to play. He wants to play. He has big ambition. A team like Paris Saint-Germain would really attract the Dutch-Spanish kid. And Juventus, they know already that that can be one of the sacrifices to cash in. Paris Saint-Germain, Paris Saint-Germain, Paris Saint-Germain, Al-Khelaifi, Juve, Remember that I told you a few days ago, one of the dreams of Juventus, the secret dreams that people are not speaking about, is Xavi Simons on loan. Imagine that you can go with a Dean Huijsen to Paris Saint-Germain, asking to be more serious, maybe even more public about Xavi Simons on loan to Juve. You never know in life. You never know. On loan, on loan. But these are discussions that we'll come back on in a few weeks. But Dean Huijsen will be sold at a big price. More we have players, more we have competition. What about salaries? Well, Juventus with Alexandro leaving, with Chesney leaving, possibly also Rabiot leaving, that we know has 3 more days of contract with Juve, and then he will be a free player. Doesn't mean that we cannot continue with Rabiot after the 1st of July, but it will be more and more difficult. Well, there are some interest. Even Milan this morning, quite serious to pair the offer of Juventus for him. But if Rabiot would leave, also there you're saving a lot of salary costs. So Juventus is really thinking about saving. There is a lot of things to do. The beautiful teams that we are seeing, not everything will be possible. Why? Because there is a limited time. Limited time. You don't have an unlimited budget, and you don't have unlimited time in a Mercato session. In one Mercato session, doing a total revolution of Juventus would be crazy. And that's why Juventus is growing their team of management. We already knew that Giuntoli was there in the year 0, waiting for his team to start. Well, that team is starting now, because his right hand, we already know it is already official, is Giuseppe Pompilio. On top of Giuseppe Pompilio, we have Stefanelli, that already said goodbye to Pisa as a sporting director. He will be the chief of scout. We have Sbravati Attenzione to the name of Sbravati, because you will tell me who is that guy. He will be responsible for the youth academy sector. Sbravati is someone that is already since 2008 at Genoa. Juventus tried so many times. It's a guy that is an expert in his field, was able to do more or less 150 million euro profit with Genoa, with the youth players that he was able to attract at Genoa. It's a guy that Juventus was waiting for extremely long, but also Giuntoli knows him really well. For what reason? Because they played together football when they were younger, so they have a fantastic, beautiful relationship. Attenzione. Now, with all that money, with all that work that Juventus is trying to do to generate cash, they want to go for one big dream. Because one of the players that is on the market to generate fund with his last year of contract is Weston McKennie, but especially also Federico Chiesa. Generating all that cash. They want to invest in the midfield, which they are partially doing. Maybe they want to go for Calafiori, maybe for another option if Bologna is not going crazy. And then they are thinking about the big name, the big dream, to replace potentially their Federico Chiesa, especially a player that can play as a right wing. And here we have the big name that Juventus is monitoring. Sancho. Jadon Sancho is at the moment the favorite of Juventus. It's really difficult. It's extremely difficult. Juventus, they want to go for him and they have time. They have no rush, because you remember the list that we made? Zegrova, Sule that could potentially stay. We still have Federico Chiesa at the moment in our team. We have Greenwood that is in that list. We have Adeyemi that is in that. There are so many players in that list that Juventus, they have to cherry pick which one is the most convenient, depending on what we are doing. If Juventus is able to find an opening with Manchester United on a loan with a salary partially paid by Manchester United, or maybe not even, because with all that salary that we are saving on Rabiot, on Chiesa, on McKennie, maybe they can increase a bit for paying entirely the salary of Sancho, but only on loan, maybe with an option, maybe with an obligation. That would be the big dream offensively of Juve. Imagine a team with a four-man defense, with Calafiori as a new one, as a new goalkeeper, Di Gregorio, a midfield made of Douglas Luiz, and next to him, Khephren Thuram. Don't forget about Locatelli, about Fagioli. Don't forget that we are still trying for Cope Manners. Not sure that it will happen, but Juventus will try. After Khephren Thuram, they go for Cope. And then imagine up front a Yildiz that yesterday was fantastic with Turkey. Vlahovic on top, on the right side, a Jadon Sancho. Mamma mia, mamma mia, mamma mia, seriously, mamma mia. Again, no rush on that name on the right side. We'll have time to speak about it. There are other priorities, but there Juventus is dreaming in big, in huge. Still monitoring the name of Adeyemi, that at the moment Juventus is seeing more like a joker player, that jolly player that can play on the left, that can play on the right, that can play centrally, there offensively. It's not the main name that you are giving up, especially if Dean Huijsen goes to Dortmund instead of Paris Saint-Germain. That can be an option. Speaking about Di Lorenzo, because Mercato is not over. Well, for the people that didn't want him, especially after watching him at Euro 2024, I can reassure a lot of people, Antonio Conte, well, actually he helped Juventus this time. New coach of Napoli. Yesterday was the Conte day where he spoke, blah, 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 blah. At a certain moment he's saying, Kvaratskhelia and Di Lorenzo, no way, they stay. I am now the boss of Napoli. I command here. And I asked to De Laurentiis before signing, I am the one that decides who stays. I have here the importance of deciding who stays. And yesterday he mentioned a few players. And in these players, they had a Di Lorenzo. So Di Lorenzo to Juve is further and further and further away. We need to find another right back. We need really to find another right back. Otherwise, we can possibly start the season with Gatti, Danilo, Barbieri, finding a solution there on the right side that we don't have. I don't believe in Kimmich, guys. I heard the name of Kimmich. That will be a really difficult one. With the Bayern Munich going for Chiesa, in exchange, we pay 10 million and we have Kimmich. Kimmich, 29 years old. That's not old, I already tell you. But it's a player that is earning, at today, 10 million euro salary, which is too much. What can be another solution according to Tuttosport as a vice Vlahovic, because we are selling Moise Kean, Milik is on the market. Well, today, big page on Tuttosport, a Thiago piace Retegui. Thiago Motta, he likes Retegui. So I have no doubt that Retegui is liked by Thiago Motta. I have no doubt that he could potentially work in the system of Thiago Motta. No doubts about that. I have doubts about the fact that Genoa is asking for 40 million euro. 40 million euro were the money money, that they were asking to Fiorentina when Fiorentina firstly they approached Genoa, because the first target of Fiorentina after losing Belotti was Retegui. And Genoa said 40 million euro. If 40 million euro is the request from Genoa to Juventus, forget about it. Forget about it. Especially 40 million euro for a vice Dusan Vlahovic. I think it's a bit excessive, and that's why I don't believe that it will happen. Now, we finish with a few words about Euro 2024. Yesterday, the group stages are over. We go to the knockout stage. If you're looking at the table, I go really quickly. I tell you that I see a final played between Spain and England, with Spain champion of Europe 2024. Let's see how wrong I will be on that prediction. If you are still here, let me know your prediction about final and winner. Grazie, forza, Juve.